So the US Senate has voted to proceed with the second impeachment trial of Donald Trump, rejecting the defense argument that it's unconstitutional to try a former president. Let's start with Alan Fisher on Capitol Hill, where he tells us what to expect in the coming days.
In a place that has seen a lot of it, this truly was an historic day, the second impeachment trial of Donald Trump, before the Senate can even begin to question whether or not he was guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors, whether he sent a crowd towards Capitol Hill for a violent insurrection aimed at overturning the results of a democratic election. There's the question of whether or not it was constitutional to put him on trial. The Democrats said absolutely, he had to be held responsible for what he did in those final days in office. His defence team argued that he's no longer in office, and so it's too late.
Police in Myanmar's capital, Naypyidaw, have fired rubber bullets at protesters demonstrating against the military coup. Live ammunition has also been used, and a woman is in a critical condition after being hit in the head. These are pictures from today's protest in Yangon, where water cannon has been used against protesters. The authorities have also extended areas where gatherings are restricted. It comes as New Zealand is suspending all high-level contact with the military authorities in Myanmar.
Playing to a different beat, Tanzania's President John Magufuli says he's minimized the danger of coronavirus. That's not new among some world leaders, but Magufuli has gone even further, saying his government won't vaccinate his people.
There are some Tanzanians who recently traveled abroad in search of coronavirus vaccines. These people brought the virus into our country when they returned. Let us stand firm. This vaccine is not good at all.
The Tanzanian leader has also rejected social distancing advice and a lockdown to contain the spread of the virus. Even the wearing of masks has been shunned. Instead, his government has urged people to pray, eat more fruit and vegetables, and even inhale steam to combat the disease.
The case of a teenage girl who was gang raped by 20 firemen has created fury in France and demands for a law to protect minors. A Parisian woman who has been dubbed Julie by the French media says she was repeatedly raped by 20 firemen in 2008 for 2 years when she was between 13 to 15 years old. The first legal complaint was made in 2010, but it still hasn't reached a final decision. The firefighters admitted to having sex with the minor, but they have not been charged with rape, as they claim it was consensual and the minor didn't show resistance. So far, only 3 of them have been charged with sexual violence, which carries a prison term of just 7 years compared to 20-year prison sentence for rape.
Meanwhile, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the Golan Heights will remain under Israeli sovereignty. Listen in.
The Golan Heights was and will remain part of the State of Israel, with or without an agreement. We are not withdrawing from the Golan Heights. This will remain a sovereign part of the State of Israel.
Now, his statement, of course, comes a day after the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken voiced remarks that stopped short of recognizing the claim. Blinken said on Monday that he saw control of the plateau, that is the Golan Heights, as being important to Israel's security, but was wary about recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the territory. Now, remember, in what is dubbed as a bit of a historic move, the former U.S. President Donald Trump had recognized the Golan Heights as Israeli territory, making the United States the first nation to in fact do so.
Well, this all comes down to the size of the syringes that are going to be used to administer vaccines here in Japan, as you say, starting from next week. Specifically, the Pfizer vaccine. If you look, this isn't really entirely Japan's fault. If you look at the vials of the Pfizer vaccines, it does say that there are 5 doses inside each vial. But in countries that have already started their vaccination rollouts, it was noticed that you could actually get a 6th and final dose out of each vial. And given the huge numbers of people involved in this global vaccination program and, of course, problems with supply, it makes sense to squeeze every last drop out of vaccine out of each vial. But the problem here in Japan is that you need specialist syringes to extract that 6th dose of vaccine, and most Japanese health facilities use standard syringes, standard needles. So what's going to happen once the rollout of the Pfizer vaccine begins in Japan is that health workers are simply going to have to throw away that 6th and final dose.
Meanwhile, Ebola has resurfaced in the Democratic Republic of Congo. This is said to be the 4th outbreak in the last 3 years and has so far claimed 1 person's life. A woman admitted with Ebola symptoms reportedly died on the 3rd of this month. Health officials have sprung to action in eastern region where the Ebola first emerged. Contact tracing has already begun. Experts fear that the Ebola outbreak will derail the country's response to COVID-19. The government was planning to launch a vaccine awareness campaign next week, and this is Congo's 12th Ebola breakout since the virus was first discovered in 1976. It comes merely 3 months after the last outbreak, which was in the country's western part.
Tonight, horror and chaos at this medical center in Buffalo, Minnesota, after a suspect identified by police as 67-year-old Gregory Paul Ulrich allegedly walked into the Illini Health Clinic late this morning and opened fire. Federal and local law enforcement rushing to the scene. Officials say 5 people were transported to the hospital, 1 later dying. Authorities saying that a suspicious package was located at the medical center. The bomb squad called in to investigate. And that police also located suspicious devices at a hotel that the suspect had been staying at.
We're not looking for any additional suspects. We believe that he acted alone.
Welcome back. Wednesday lunchtime against the backdrop of stage 3 load shedding, which began just on an hour ago. City Power here in Johannesburg is cutting off illegal electricity connections in Ennerdale. That is south of the city. It's after a 7-year-old girl was electrocuted.
So City Power is conducting an operation to cut off illegal electricity connection, which is a major problem here in the Ennerdale Extension 4 area. And according to community members, it has claimed the lives of 3 people since December. And today's operation comes after the death of 7-year-old Zoe Sauls last week, Thursday. We understand that she was playing with her friends near an old stadium here in the area when she tripped over a live wire that was exposed and she got electrocuted.
All right, let's now shift our attention to New Zealand, where a leader of the Maori Party was asked to leave the parliament for not adhering to the dress code by not wearing a tie. Now, Riveri Vaititi is the co-leader of New Zealand's Maori Party, and he was elected from New Zealand's parliament for not wearing a tie. In fact, this is not the first tie-based controversy Vaititi has been involved in. Last year, Vaititi had been warned that he would be ejected from the House of Representatives if he did not wear a tie. The Vaititi have ever argued that he should be free and should be allowed to wear the traditional Maori stone necklace punamu instead. Listen.
This is a tie as far as I'm concerned, and as far as many New Zealanders and Aotearoa is concerned, this is a tie.
In our national space program, the primary and most important target is on the 100th anniversary of our republic is to make the first contact with the moon. And hopefully we are going to the moon. We have started the preparations for a moon program, and we aim to reach this goal in 2 stages. In the first phase, by the end of 2023, we are going to fire our own hybrid rockets at low orbit, and with that we're going to reach the moon and carry out a hard landing.